Since its launch, I have become more and more of a fan of the current Mercurial, both the Superfly and the Vapor. So, after an extended period of time, after multiple pairs of the same boot, how do I feel about it? And can we break this down in about 5 minutes? Let's start with sizing. You want to go for your regular Nike size. I have these in a US 8, UK 7, 26 centimeter, which is what I would buy across pretty much every single Nike boot. 26 centimeter Japanese sizing is what I buy most boots in. I have a 26 centimeter long foot. Correspond that to the 26 centimeter Japanese sizing. Works perfectly in the Mercurial. So, go for your normal Nike size or measure your foot and choose based on the Japanese sizing. When it comes to width, these are one of the widest Mercurials that we have ever seen. So they are very forgiving for a wider foot. However, I still wouldn't consider them to be a wide boot. So if you have a narrower foot or a regular width foot, these are going to fit you fine. If you have a wide foot, you should be okay. If you have a very wide foot, probably want to avoid. If you have a very wide foot, go ahead and pick these up instead. These are the Phantom 6 and they have a really great wide forefoot and a little bit of a tighter midfoot, but wider forefoot, go for these. If you have a wider midfoot, pick up the Phantom GX2, the old version of this, because that's really great for a wide midfoot. But width, there's your info. So what are my two favourite things about the Phantom? Well, the first one has to be the upper. This grip knit upper is crazy. I love it. It's a perfectly balanced amount of grip. It's not too much. I think it's really, really well put together. It's also not particularly thick or padded, so it gives you that proper Mercurial barefoot touch and feel, which I absolutely love. I think this is a very well put together upper. However, we will say that on this particular Sam Kerr model, this stripe down the front here does add a little bit of a hard, non-grippy point, which is slightly odd. But overall, this upper is amazing, possibly the best, or at least one of the best uppers that Nike have ever put on a Mercurial. My other favorite thing about the Mercurial is actually the AG outsole. I think everyone should buy the AG version of the Mercurial because it is a great FG-AG option. The studs are long enough and yet conical enough to be a great option for an FG pitch and also for an AG pitch. Now yes, you've got a couple of blades back here, which is never ideal for AG, but overall as a balance for both, I think a really great choice. So they're my two favorite things on the Mercurial. What are my two least favourite things on this boot? Well, one of them is the lockdown. It's not bad, I just think that previous Mercurials have had better lockdown. Using this grip knit based upper, you don't get quite the same amount of lockdown across the boot. However, what I will say is that the more recent models of the Vapor that I've tried, or the Superfly for that matter, do seem to have less volume, so they actually feel a little bit more locked in than some of the early models that we got in, for example, the Mad Ambition pack, or particularly the launch Bowerman colorway. So if lockdown is a particular concern for you, I think you can even see it if I put them side by side here. I think there is a little bit less volume through some of the more recently made models. Now this could also be down to where the boots are made, because I said almost exactly the same thing when it came to the Vinny Jr. Mercurials, which I really loved. They were made in Bosnia and had that slightly better, slightly lower volume feel, and that's exactly the same as the Sam Kerr ones, also made in Bosnia, whereas some of the non-made in Bosnia ones just seem to have a little bit more volume, and overall that feels like a little bit less lockdown because it is overall a boot with a little bit more volume. You want more lockdown in your speed boot, you don't necessarily get it with the Mercurial. It's not a disaster, it is something to be aware of if that's what you're looking for. In terms of the other item that I don't like, it is actually one of the big selling points. It's the Air Zoom. I don't particularly like this underfoot, but I know that there are hundreds of people who are going to jump in my comments and be like, I love the Air Zoom, particularly for AG. I know lots of people love the extra cushioning. I personally don't think that it offers the propulsion that they say it does, and I also don't think that it allows me to be as connected to the boot as I want. For my speed boot, I want to sit down, I want to sit close, and I can feel a little bit lifted up and away using this big Air Zoom pod. But take that as you like. I know a lot of people love it. So, how do I feel about these now compared to when I first reviewed them? Well, honestly, I like them more. And I think some of that does come down to this seemingly, maybe in my head, slightly amended fit. Some of it has just come down to overall finding a love for the boot using the AG outsole. And I just think this is probably, has been, maybe undersold by me as to how good it is in the months after its release. I was very impressed to start with, and I kind of fell off, and now I'm back up on the Mercurial hype train. If you want to pick up a pair, use the links down in the top pinned comment and in the description. And of course, you can check out my original review by clicking that video right there, or my Phantom review, which is very good, by clicking that video right there.